Hey, what's up? So for today, what we're going to talk about is what is confidence? Makes your differences and okay, let's try something else, all right? So one of the things that happens when about trying to overthink and thinking that there has to be a certain way to express certain emotions is the fact that you're almost in a background effect, thinking that what other people have to say about what you have to come out, like just the words. Yeah, of course it does matter, but what actually matters a little bit more, in my opinion, is the way that things are allowed to flow, and that you're not necessarily judging yourself so harshly and allowing yourself the room to make mistakes. And the fact that you're able to do it unfiltered without actually having to pick and choose the words that you say too carefully actually has an underlying tone behind that, and people can feel the sense of which you're not judging yourself, and that's what they judge you on. And because you're not as judging of yourself, the other people find that to be more confident than if you were to say everything exactly, maybe correct, technically correct, and very smart, but you were saying it in a very choppy manner. You weren't maintaining a lot of eye contact. You felt a little awkward, and they feel the sense of awkwardness even though what you're saying is technically correct. So, given that, I think what I would like to try to do is to then lead into the concept about perfection, right? Because perfection, a lot of us like to think that it has to do with sounding exactly the right tone, to say the right words, and to maintain everything that is correct body posture, the right eye contact, if I already said that already, and just everything that's associated with it, right? So perfection, just this mind-made, very rigid sense of what it should be aesthetically, and something that logically flows. And that's what I think a lot of guys, and myself included, get stuck on without really allowing ourselves to feel through the way that we talk and then just allow it to be. And that is a perfect segue into thinking what really is another definition of perfection that will allow us to flow better and to get to the next level of, just say, communication, effective communication. And that is to be, right? Because if we allow ourselves to be who we are right now without the judgment and without having to filter ourselves so much, then in itself is value, in itself is perfection, in a sense of this is nature, this is how I have become over the years. And so allowing and just being comfortable enough with the fact that I am not perfect in exactly every single word, right? And I'm allowing myself to still give myself the permission to speak is a type of perfection. It is a type of confidence that I'm exuding, and it's taken me a very long time to try to identify or to become aware of what that really truly means to me, because I've been conflicted with it the entire time, because perfection, I thought, has to, through the entire time of human history and what is going to come in the hundreds or thousands of years of the human race, that I would have to say the exact right thing, that I have to know the exact right answer through all of eternity, right? Because I don't want to go out and tell somebody that you should go that you shouldn't pick their nose, and the fact of the matter is that maybe they can pick their nose in the right circumstances, so I have to know exactly what the circumstances are to be able to tell them that this is the right thing to do versus the wrong thing, right? And so instead of expressing it and just being okay with the fact that this just is what I'm feeling at the moment, I feel like this is going to help you, and then not necessarily be so worried, and the key phrase is worry, right? That is going to have some negative impact on you and the entire world. Just me being so absorbed that my one word is going to impact the course of human history and life itself, that I'm just going to let it go, right? Because how realistically and reasonably speaking is if I'm going to mess up, which I've already made a bunch of mistakes in my life, and the world is still turning, right? It's still spinning. The sun still comes up the next day. I'm placing so much emphasis on being the fear of being wrong. So, I've been wrong. I've made it a self-fulfilling prophecy by focusing on that fear of failure, that we still see that even at our worst, our most embarrassing moments, or maybe our worst breakups or career screw-ups, that everything else, if you look around, people still live their lives and the world, the universe still continues to go, that it really doesn't hinge upon our failures. So given that premise, then we can stop being so absorbed in our own specialness of having to feel like if we failed, then the world would end. Then we would be having a little bit more freedom to actually just to go act, fail, and then just learn the next time, right? To make mistakes and learn and grow from it, and not to be so harsh on yourself, because in all honesty, not a whole lot of people care. Neither should you. So there's two things that essentially that I have talked about, right? And that is, what is the definition of perfection, and what is the definition of confidence? And I believe that if you are to define perfection in a more flexible term, which is to be, just allow yourself to flow and to realize that what you're saying right now, whether you think it's right or wrong, is just what it is, and it's good enough. And that flows into your confidence, right? Because the fact that you're able to express yourself in a way that you're not judging yourself that harshly, then it is exuding a sense of confidence, because that's just what people see, even if you're like stuttering, kind of like what Elon Musk does a little bit, right? But he just allows himself, gives him the permission to still speak even with his stuttering. And he's one of the smartest men out there in the universe. So confidence doesn't have to mean that you know exactly what is going to happen. You know all the details, all the facts in history, that you can regurgitate whatever answer that people ask you as questions. So you don't have to be a encyclopedia or a Google that has all this knowledge to be considered confident, and to give yourself permission to speak. Because in all honesty, everybody that around you, if you've taken the time to notice how they speak and how your reaction to it, is that person that might be completely wrong, but the fact that he's giving himself permission to be confident about it and speak with enough authority, you're like, okay, well, a part of you just accepts it as truth and accepts the fact that this person at least has a decent point, and you'll consider the fact. And realize that you could be in that same position as well, that other people could take you as a proper authority, maybe worth listening to, if you give yourself the permission to speak with enough confidence and love for yourself to believe that what you have to say is worth the dialogue. So next time, like as a call to action, is to challenge yourself to believe that perfection is not a rigid thing. It is flexible. It is what is to be versus to overthink a lot of things. And for confidence to love yourself enough to speak and to be wrong, to be right, even on both sides of the coin. And so that is my spiel for today. Hopefully that will help you into understanding and expressing yourself versus repressing and thinking that other people's opinion matter more than your own. So peace out. Continue to enjoy, live, and learn throughout your life. Enjoy the process. So see ya.